I could feel my heart pounding against my chest like a drum, each beat echoing in my ears as we huddled in the dimly lit multi-purpose room. The air was thick with fear and tension, and I could see the uncertainty in the eyes of my fellow students. We were trapped, locked down in our own school by a maniac outside, and the outside world felt like a distant nightmare. It all started during lunch when we heard those loud booms. At first, I thought it was just thunder, but then the panic spread like wildfire through the cafeteria. Campus security rushed in, ordering us to seek safety in the multipurpose room. The dread settled in as the adults covered the glass walls, blocking our view of the outside world. The minutes felt like hours as we waited in darkness, the only light coming from our phones as we texted each other, trying to get any information we could. Rumors started swirling around, whispers of a mentally unstable man, a registered sex offender, threatening violence and destruction. Suddenly, a sound echoed through the basement, a creaking of the door that sent shivers down my spine. I clenched my teeth, praying that it was just one of our teachers coming to give us some assurance. But then footsteps approached the office where we were hiding, and my heart stopped. The darkness seemed to swallow me whole as I hid under a desk, trying to control my breathing. And then, someone grabbed my arm, and I thought my time had come. But it was a man, dressed in a red plaid shirt and a cap, seeking refuge with us. He claimed he was a parent, but something about him felt off. His eyes held a haunted look, and I could see the fear reflected in them. As we waited, I received a text from one of our coworkers upstairs. The message was chilling: a man with a gun, targeting one of our beloved teachers, Mr. Buckley. My mind raced with thoughts of what horrors might await us if that man made his way inside the room. The man in the red shirt seemed anxious and evasive, avoiding my questions. I knew deep down that there was something he wasn't telling us, something sinister lurking beneath the surface. And then, in a moment of panic, he made a run for it, and a gunshot echoed through the basement. The bullet missed me, but the sound of it would forever haunt my dreams. The police arrived just in time to apprehend the man, but the fear and trauma would linger within us for a long time. As the lockdown ended, and we were allowed to leave, I couldn't shake off the feeling that something had changed. The darkness outside had seeped into our souls, leaving an eerie chill that wouldn't fade away. We all went our separate ways, but the fear lingered, a haunting reminder of that day. In the weeks that followed, whispers spread like a sinister fog through the school. Some said that the man was driven by more than just a personal dispute with Mr. Buckley, that there were other darker motives at play. Others claimed that he was possessed by some malevolent force, a dark spirit that had taken control of him. And then, the truth emerged, a horrifying twist that left us all in shock. The man had left a diary behind, filled with the most disturbing entries. He wasn't just a man with personal grievances, he was a vessel for something much darker, something that craved pain and chaos. That day changed us all, leaving scars that couldn't be seen but were etched deep within our souls. The school was no longer a sanctuary of learning, it had become a place haunted by the horrors of that lockdown. And though we tried to move on, the memory of that day would forever linger, a chilling reminder that evil could lurk even in the most ordinary of places. I couldn't believe my bad luck that day. Just a regular college intern, and I found myself stuck in the school's basement office during a freaking lockdown. I had no clue what was going on, but the fear in the air was palpable. Huddled under the desk, I wished I had superpowers to contact my coworkers, Dave and Gary. But nope, my phone was acting like a total jerk with its no service sign. Great, just great. The basement was dark, and the silence felt suffocating. My heart raced, and I swear I could hear every thump of it. I thought about all the horror movies I'd watched, and I was starting to freak out real bad. Then, the creaking sound of the basement door opening. My pulse quickened, and I held my breath, praying they'd leave me alone. But, no such luck. "Hello," a voice whispered, and I flinched. My eyes strained to see who it was, and all I saw was a shadowy figure in a red plaid shirt and a cap. "It's okay. I'm hiding down here too," the stranger said, as if we were pals meeting for coffee. "Who are you? What's going on upstairs?" I mustered the courage to ask, my voice barely above a whisper. The guy hesitated before mumbling that he was a parent looking for his kid, and a teacher told him to hide. But something about his story didn't add up, and I had a gut feeling this was bad news. "Do we have an exit down here?" he asked, trying to act all cool. "Yeah, that way," I said, trying not to reveal my suspicion. My phone dinged, and I got a text from Dave, warning me about some dude with a gunshot wound looking for our teacher, Mr. Buckley. Panic washed over me like a tsunami. I glanced at the stranger, my mind racing. But before I could say anything, a gunshot echoed through the basement, and my heart felt like it would burst out of my chest. The bullet missed me, but the sound was deafening. I didn't need a second invite. I ran for my life, praying to make it upstairs in one piece. The stranger seemed to panic too, but I couldn't trust him, not with my life on the line. Finally, I made it to the main floor, and the police were there to catch the intruder. They grabbed him just as he tried to leave the basement. Turns out, he had some grudge against Mr. Buckley, but the motive remained a mystery. Mr. Buckley survived the gunshot, thank goodness, but the whole incident left us all shaken. The stranger got taken away, and the school returned to normal, but the eerie feeling never quite left. Every time I stepped foot in that basement office, I'd feel this chill crawling up my spine. It was like something was lingering in the shadows, watching, waiting. I couldn't shake the feeling that the stranger's motives were more twisted than we knew. Why did he seek refuge in the basement? And what the heck was his connection to the gunshot and our teacher's life? The answers were buried deep in the darkest corners of that terrifying day. And as I tried to move on, the haunting image of the stranger in the basement haunted me. It was like the nightmare was far from over. The school day started like any other, but we had no idea it would soon turn into a nightmare. A creepy feeling lingered in the air as the announcement crackled over the intercom, "Lockdown, lockdown." This is not a drill. Panic swept through the classrooms like wildfire, and we huddled together, trying to make sense of the situation. As the minutes dragged on, the atmosphere grew suffocating. The teacher tried to keep us calm, but her trembling voice betrayed her fear. Outside, there were muffled sounds of footsteps, heavy and erratic, as if someone was desperately searching for something, or someone. My heart pounded in my chest, and my hands were clammy with sweat. Then it happened, a loud bang on the door. We all jumped, stifling gasps as the sound echoed through the room. It came again, and this time, there was a voice, cold and menacing. "I know you're in there. Open up, or I'll kill you all." Terror gripped us, and we clung to each other, paralyzed with fear. The banging persisted, each blow sending shockwaves through our bodies. We couldn't see him, but the unseen man's presence was suffocating. His threats became more sinister, making us doubt if we'd survive this ordeal. The teacher tried to call for help, but the phone lines were dead. We were trapped, completely at the mercy of this deranged individual. The minutes felt like hours, and with each passing second, hope seemed to slip away. Then, silence. The banging stopped, and we held our breath, unsure if it was over. Minutes turned into an eternity before we mustered the courage to open the door cautiously. There was no one in sight, just an empty corridor that seemed to stretch into the unknown. The school staff arrived later, and the police were called. They searched every inch of the building, but there was no sign of the intruder. It was as if he had vanished into thin air. How could someone just disappear like that? As days passed, the incident weighed heavily on our minds. The school felt different, haunted by the memory of that terrifying lockdown. We tried to go back to our routines, but the fear was always lurking in the back of our minds. Then, strange things started happening. Objects moved on their own, doors creaked open when no one was around, and eerie whispers echoed through the empty halls. Some claimed to have seen a shadowy figure darting through the corners of their vision. Rumors spread like wildfire, and some students began to believe that the mentally unstable man had never really left. They said he was now a vengeful spirit, seeking to terrorize us from beyond the grave. It sounded crazy, but the more I thought about it, the more I felt an inexplicable chill crawl up my spine. One evening, I stayed back late to finish some work. The school was deserted, and the silence was deafening. As I walked down the dimly lit hallway, I felt an overwhelming sense of being watched. My heart pounded in my ears as I quickened my pace. Then, I heard it, the sound of footsteps behind me. I turned around, but there was no one there. Panic set in, and I started running, the sound of my own footsteps echoing through the empty building. The air grew colder, and I felt a presence closing in on me. In a desperate attempt to escape, I pushed open the nearest door and locked myself inside a classroom. I barricaded the door with a desk and tried to catch my breath. The room felt eerily silent, and I could feel eyes on me, watching from the shadows. And then, a voice, low and chilling, whispered in my ear, "You can't hide from me." I spun around, but there was no one there. The voice came again, closer this time, "I'll always be here, waiting for you." Fear consumed me, and I knew I had to get out of there. I threw open the window and climbed out, not caring about the height. As I landed on the ground and ran as fast as my trembling legs could carry me, I couldn't shake the feeling that the man, or whatever he had become, was still with me. To this day, the school remains haunted by that fateful lockdown. Students still hear the banging on doors and the menacing threats. The legend of the mentally unstable man who terrorized us lives on, and I can't help but wonder if we are truly safe, or if he will come back to claim us one by one. The fear never leaves us, a constant reminder of the horrors we endured and the dark secrets that now haunt the halls of our school.